What's up everyone, John from Beyond ARTV. It is time for another episode of 7 on Sunday, and it just so happens that I'm dropping this video. I've had this as an idea for a while. Consequence of Sound just dropped their list about sibling or else family-based bands, and I know other people have done the list as well. But hey, I'm putting another one out there because I've been wanting to do this for a while, and why not go ahead? Sibling-based bands, not just family members, but people who are actually brothers and sisters. And you think about it, all of the fighting at home that probably went on growing up, all the sibling rivalry, how does that turn into music? How does that turn into collaboration, into making albums, playing shows, and touring the entire world? Well, today we are talking about 7 sibling-based bands that rock, that play in bands, or else are duos, or whatever it might be. They've been rocking together, playing together for a long time now, or else they did at one point in their careers. I know this is not every sibling-based band out there, but I wanted to pick some that are definitely known and some that might surprise a few people, or maybe not everyone knows that there are siblings in the band. So let me know other picks that you have in the comment section down below, and let me know what you think of my list. Be sure to leave a like on the video, and let's kick it off with number 7.
Sing me something soft, sad and delicate, but loud and out of key. Sing me anything, we're glad for what we've got.
That's right, your old pal John is taking you all the way back to 2004 for the emo train that's gonna pull on your heartstrings. It's STRAYLIGHT Run. You might know them for songs like Existentialism on Prom Night, which is a very deep song, and they had a lot of meaningful music. Now, if you don't know the story behind STRAYLIGHT Run, it's actually formed by a couple of people and obviously other band members that left Taking Back Sunday after Tell All Your Friends, their debut album. They were blowing up, and then we saw the departure of not only Sean Cooper, but also John Nolan. And along with Nolan, he also brought his sister onto this project. Michelle and John were working on STRAYLIGHT Run, and she, Michelle of course, doing backing harmonies, some of the other instrumentation on the record really added a lot to the aura and the emotion and the atmosphere. There was something about their music that was very different. There was obviously your emo bands, or else ones that were associated with the scene like My Chemical Romance, Taking Back Sunday. Don't really think anything like that. It's a much less quiet in a way, but also furious. I mean, if you're into bands that have emotional heavyweights like the Dashboard Confessional, you might really enjoy STRAYLIGHT Run, and you might have never heard of them. In fact, I'm not even super familiar myself, but I've heard both of their albums a couple of times, and I know a lot of the big songs, and I know that they are definitely worth your time to check out, and it definitely intrigues me that there are siblings in this band. Michelle and John obviously growing up together, and then eventually playing in a band together. Michelle went on to get married, and then obviously Nolan himself went back to Taking Back Sunday, starting with the self-titled record. It was an era, it was a period of time, and STRAYLIGHT Run existed, and it was a beautiful thing. I'm sure the majority of you guys are familiar with the duo, but here we have Tegan and SARA coming in at number 6. They are sisters, but not just sisters, they are identical twin sisters. That's right, we have Tegan and SARA Quinn. They've been active since the 90s as a duo, and that's crazy to me, just spending that much time, not only growing up, probably sharing things together, maybe sharing a room together at one point, and then going on for like 2 decades to just play music together, tour all over the place, have to do interviews together, everything together. And for me personally, I would probably burn the hell out quickly, but more power to them. They've been such a big voice in the music community. They're actually really outspoken in the world of music, and I love that about them. They were speaking up about issues before a lot of people were doing so, or before it was cool or more accepted to do so, talking about gay rights, as both of the sisters do identify as gay. And that's something where they really made their voice known, but they also did it through subtlety with their music. They opened up about emotion emotions, and I think made themselves relatable to a totally different crowd while still obviously pleasing the masses as well. And not everyone can do that. I got into them in 2007 with the release of The Con, a great album in my opinion, and even though they've shifted over to new styles of music, have definitely adopted more of a poppier, even some throwback glam and 80s synth pop styles over the recent 2 albums that have come out, including their most recent Love You to Death and obviously 2013's Heartthrob as well. Both excellent ventures into that foray, and of course if you've got Greg Kurstin on your side, you're doing things right. Definitely check out Tegan and Sara if you don't know the duo. Rocking since the 70s, we've got ACDC. We've got 2 members of the band that are brothers, and they are from Australia. They've been rocking together since the early mid-70s, and unfortunately at this point, Angus Young of Angus and Malcolm Young has retired due to the fact that he unfortunately was diagnosed with dementia, or else what some would call Alzheimer's, starting to forget things, and they wanted him to keep his integrity and just permanently retire from the band in 2014. So I understand that decision, but for the longest time, these guys rocked it, whether they were up there in their crazy outfits that everyone knew them for, or else just shredding all over the place. The brothers could not be stopped. You know an AC/DC song. You probably know at least 5, and you probably even know some of their deep cuts. I know even me personally, I am guilty of not checking out or else knowing enough of their material. I haven't even heard every AC/DC record, but that is something that I think I should challenge myself to do, and I challenge you guys to at least look into more of their catalog if you only know like Back in Black from Iron Man, or maybe you only know some of their recent material. I think that it's definitely worth getting into. They've got some awesome guitar stuff, and even the vocals are undeniable as well. But of course, you've got of the brothers Malcolm Young doing the leads on the guitar, and then you've got Angus for the longest time playing that rhythm guitar, adding in all those sweet, sweet melodies that you've come to know and love really at this point.
I'll be there waiting, I'm gone broke. So be there one for all. Won't be there when they fall to pieces.
A band of brothers and then one cousin. Imagine being the one cousin that's like, yeah, I'm family, but I'm not that kind of family. Matthew Followell is the one man out. He's the cousin of the group. But then, of course, we've got other members like Caleb Followell, the lead vocalist, Jared, Nathan. The Followells have been rocking it for a long time. And it's kind of been a rocky road at times. They haven't always gotten along, and it's been quite public, some of the stuff and the hardships that they've faced as a band. I was supposed to see them live, but this festival that I was going to where them, Weezer, and Green Day, the Ni-Fi Fest, were headlining, it got canceled. That was 2015, and I was so damn bummed. I was like, fuck, I wanted to see all of these guys, and now I can't. I will see these guys live someday. I can't wait to see the Family Jam live in person at some point. I've heard that they put on a pretty damn good show, and if you saw the clip that I played there, that's from the Because of the Times 2007 era. They've changed a lot to modern day, starting with their switch over to mainstream with Only by the Night in 2009, a really solid record that even if you don't like some of the singles like Use Somebody, you can't deny some of the deeper cuts or even some of the later singles that followed like Crawl and Notion. Fantastic jams in my opinion. Even though they fight, even though they've hated each other at some points in the past, they put out some really solid albums in the past few years, including last year's Walls, which I thought was really good, even if it was more of a streamlined and processed record. And then, of course, in 2010, you had Come Around Sundown, which has an undeniable song in the form of Mary, and even Mechanical Bull in 2013, I found to be quite fun and enjoyable. They've got a little something for everyone, whether it be their garagey and harder, more rough around the edges starts, or else some of their newer, more polished material. The Sisterhood of the Traveling Sisters? It's Haim up next at number 3 on my list today. We've got 3 sisters, which are the main members of this band. There is a 4th member, but it's really focused on the sisters. Danielle, of course, on the vocals, doing some of the other instrumentation as well. Esty on the bass and backing vocals, and Alana on the guitar and the keys. And they've got a nice sensibility and flow about them. They've been performing together as sisters since 2007. That's whenever they founded Haim, but they didn't really take it seriously until 2012 whenever Danielle was doing some guitar stuff for Julian Casablancas, a couple of other acts, and she was like, hey, maybe we were onto something with whatever we were trying. And then they cooked up an album that was so good in 2013, their debut record, Days Are Gone, and it had this throwback sensibility to it. Some of the 70s loving like Fleetwood Mac, and then some 80s hooks and stuff. The guitars were really in your face, the bass grooves were there as well, some light percussion and that sort of thing. It was easy to lose yourself in there, and they had a few experimental tracks as well, and I loved seeing just a band of sisters just taking on something. They weren't a pop act necessarily, they weren't going for like the top 40, they were playing some cooler, older sounding stuff, and I'm excited to see that we're right on the verge of a new record. In fact, by the time you're watching this video, it's probably already out in the world. So let me know what you think about Haim in the comments. I'm curious. I know I haven't talked about them a ton on this channel at least. How much do I even need to say about the brothers here? You saw one of them in the thumbnail and you knew that they were going to be on the list at some point, and I have to give shout outs to Oasis because not only do they have the sibling rivalry, they also have great music. I mean, not every single record, but they just started off as such an amazing band, and they really have so many good and classic songs under their belt at this point. They broke up like almost a decade ago, I think, at this point, but they had a long time, like 2 decades together playing music. But Liam and Noel Gallagher pretty much hated each other, at least in the later years, and now especially. They still just will not let it go. They're getting towards like their mid to late 40s, and they are still holding on to grudges harder than ever. Liam was the lead singer, did some tambourine, some other like live percussion and that sort of thing at their concerts, and of course Noel was the lead guitarist, backing vocals and that sort of thing, and now he does his own stuff with Noel Gallagher's High Flying Birds, and then he's got his solo record coming out. Liam's got his solo record coming out this fall. They're still competing, still trying to one-up each other. In fact, as recent as the One Love Manchester benefit for everybody who unfortunately lost their lives or else was injured at the Ariana Grande concert, of course Liam shows up, performs a few songs for the kids, as he said, and then blasts Noel for not showing up. And then, of course, Noel fires back by donating all of the royalties from Don't Look Back in Anger, a song that is a classic Oasis staple. All of the proceeds went to benefit that concert. So they're still firing back at each other, they're still hating each other, and it's just really interesting to see how it plays out. They're both assholes, but who's the bigger one? I don't know. Tell me in the comments.
Cinderella, she seems so easy. What a taste, one that no one just smiles. And she puts her hands in her backpack, gets some blood and save her soul. But now that here comes a Romeo moaning, you belong to me, I believe.
I know I put My Chemical Romance on a lot of my lists, but of course I love these guys, and I love the fact that they had a brotherhood going on. We have Gerard and Mikey Way and My Chemical Romance playing together for years, from 2001 to 2013. Mikey Way was on the bass, and of course Gerard Way was the lead vocalist of this band. And they went through some really hard times, obviously drug addictions, just blowing up as a band and having to face the pressures of just everybody's spotlight being right on you. They took it together as brothers, and in fact, at one point in my life, whenever I just got into my chem, you might not know this actually, I'm an only child, and I would look to them and I would see what they had as brothers, and I was like, oh, that's cool. You know, there's brothers in a band, and I'll never have that. I only have my cat and dog. I really did like their chemistry, and I thought that they played well off of each other, especially in live shows. I got the opportunity to, thank God, see MCR before they broke up. This was 2011, I believe, on the Honda Civic Tour, and they broke up about 1.5 years after that. They didn't really do any touring after that tour, I don't think, so I was lucky enough to see them in concert, see the brothers rocking out, and see somebody that I idolized, and really just both of them. And I saw the transformation transformations that they went through, just growing up and getting over their drug addictions. Mikey Way, especially as recently as like 2013, after that, coming out of a bunch of stuff. Gerard was super supportive, and I love the fact that they both seem to be standing on higher ground at this point. Maybe someday we'll see a My Chem reunion. Thanks for watching another episode of 7 on Sunday, guys. I do hope you liked this idea that I had for this episode this week, and please comment down below future episode suggestions and vote up some of the ones that you like the most. And if you're able to, please support on Patreon. It really helps me out with this channel and my main channel, ARTV. I try to put out really between 4 and 6 videos a week between the two channels, and it's made possible by people like you on Patreon. If you're able to join in, there's going to be a link and of course the description down below, and you'll see it in the end card in just a second. The Patreon annotation is right there, and if you would like to see last week's episode of 7 on Sunday, click right here, or another recent video that I did talking about something in the news, click right here. All of my social media is in the description, and I'll see you very soon right here on ARTV.